Arsenal fix a massive problem. I don't know how many times this season I've heard people talk about this issue that can't be fixed. But Mikel Arteta last night almost proved a point to so many people with a massive statement. People are trying to pretend at the minute that Arsenal are in a bit of a downward spiral in terms of form. All I would tell you is don't listen. It certainly isn't true. In our last 31 games, Arsenal have one defeat. Is everything perfect? No, I wouldn't sit up here and lie to people. But that was such a great performance against Inter Milan, who were just in the Champions League final last season. Don't let just how good this result was go over your head. There are so many talking points from that game, so many talking points when it comes to the Premier League title race that we have to get our teeth into. I would love to know people's thoughts and opinions. Before we get into it though, very quickly, if you could help me out, hit like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts on that game. Some of the performances, who was your man of the match? I think I know who people will select. And that's exactly where I want to start, on the strikers. Gabby J coming clutch with two huge goals. Now there is a headache looming over Mikel Arteta for this weekend against Manchester United, because what do? Look, I've got a video coming up speaking about that more specifically, but it was so good to see Jesus thriving in that position. If I'm being honest, that might be the best centre-forward play we've seen this season from anybody in an Arsenal shirt. And I'm not saying that to put Viktor Gyökeres down, because everybody knows my opinion on Viktor Gyökeres. He's brilliant. And I'm so glad that when he had the opportunity to show what he can do in Inter Milan, he came on and got his goal as well, which was an absolute world-class finish. So many positives. Arsenal have their strikers firing, which is what we've been wanting all season. We have to fix that striking problem. Why is the striker not scoring? Viktor Gyökeres has gone 7-8 games and he's not able to score a goal. It would seem he's coming into some goal-scoring form. It seems we now have so many options in terms of Jesus, because he's a slightly different profile to Viktor Gyökeres. We've got Havertz in the background as well, again, who's a slightly different profile to both of these guys. All I would say is Arsenal are blessed at the moment, and the more world-class or great, however you want to categorise these players you have on the bench, on the pitch, certainly helps you in all aspects of wanting to achieve what you want to achieve. Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, some good conversations to have. I next want to give praise to a player that I'm not hearing many creators or fans give appreciation to, and that's Christian Mosquera. That guy was exceptional. Just came in smooth as butter, and his performance was something to be applauded by Arsenal fans, because it wasn't until the young centre-forward came on that maybe he was having a bit of a battle, that not that he was losing, but that was competitive. Because up until that point, he dominated everything in that back line. And the biggest compliment I could give him was when he was playing, I didn't miss Gabriel. And Gabriel's the best centre-back in the world. I didn't miss Gabriel in that moment. I never thought when Inter Milan was on the attack, and they did at moments in that game have some decent attacks, because Arsenal were being adventurous. There was gaps being left by some of these Arsenal players, because it would seem or appear to me that they was more willing to play football in this game. They wanted to go out there and attack the game, which was a tactic that I definitely appreciated. But there were gaps. Inter Milan did exploit them. But still, Mosquera stood up to it. Other players as well. Miles Lewis-Skelly, I thought that was his most composed performance in an Arsenal shirt in a long time. I am feeling very good after this result, because I'm looking at things and I'm saying, I don't know who starts against Manchester United. That's not a bad thing. These are brilliant conversations to have. I don't know the back line against Manchester United. I think I know what he's going to do in midfield. But Eze in that game, it get brilliant. People have been calling for Eze to get more minutes. If I'm being honest, there was two sides I saw on social media. Some people saying, well, we saw Eze come in and he didn't really transform the game. The other people, of course, are saying, oh my God, totally better than Odegaard. This is what we've been waiting for. Can't wait to drop Odegaard and play Eze full time. If people want my honest opinion, I thought he was clean. I thought he was tidy. Did he blow my socks off? No. Was it a performance where I thought, wow, this guy was head and shoulders above Odegaard, if I'm being honest? No. I thought it was a good performance. I think we've seen good performances from Odegaard and Eze this season. And the most important thing is that these guys are all playing with a bit of form. We need all of these guys to help us in achieving our goals this season. So if in the next game, the player to start that right-hand side number 8 position is Eze, then I'm happy. I don't know if that will be what will happen. I believe Mikel Arteta will revert back to Martin Odegaard. That I'm sure will frustrate some people. But all I would say is there's so many performers from that game that were exceptional. And then I'm looking around at the landscape thinking, right, there's some good Champions League teams, but I don't shy away from any of these guys. And that's not me being arrogant or thinking we're way above Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. That's me having full confidence in our starting 11 and our squad because there's no weaknesses. I think most European fans look at our squad and understand we have the strongest squad in the world. I'm not saying people look at our squad and think, wow, that's by far and away the best squad in the world. But if you look at our bench, we was allowed so many subs last night. You go through that subs bench and you think killer. So many great players. And then you look at Manchester City and what's happening with them and how that affects us in the Premier League. And things are honestly looking so good. I'm so excited to get the Premier League back underway. There's some nerves going into this Manchester United game. And of course, closer to that, I'll give you my full match breakdown. So make sure you're subscribed for that and keep the bell on so you never miss a video. But Manchester United, are they brilliant all of a sudden? Or are Man City regressing even further? Because Man United absolutely battered Man City to the point where people were saying, right, this might be our toughest game of the season. Man United's coming to our place. They carved Man City open, scoring 5 goals. And it just seemed like that was all Man United. It was nothing to do with City. They're still a good team, but they just got dominated by this team that just seemed exceptional on the night. But they also got bullied or outplayed and outfought last night by Bodø Glimt, which is a Norwegian team. So all of a sudden, again, I'm still weary and understanding that this United game will be difficult. But all of a sudden, I'm thinking, has Man City got even worse? Because they're getting slapped about in the Champions League by a team who was in the Norwegian second division 9 seasons ago. So, yeah, the Premier League title race is fascinating. We've just seen Aston Villa drop points to Everton, which is a feat most of us didn't think possible. Aston Villa were at home and they just don't lose at home. Is the pressure getting to them teams as well? Like, people are levelling criticism at Arsenal and saying, oh my God, they're bottling it. Because we had a few draws. We dropped points against Sunderland and Chelsea, and we lost against Aston Villa, which was fair, but there's definitely circumstances as to why this happened. We didn't get bullied or outplayed or dominated in any of those games. Our losses come from a 85 minutes Szoboszlai free kick from the gods, which we couldn't do anything about. A last-minute loss against Aston Villa. The Sunderland game was a last kick of the game, kind of a pinball moment where the Sunderland player beats one of the Arsenal defenders to it. So that's why I'm still so confident. I see the rival fans still pinning their hopes on Man City. Like, my Liverpool friends are still adamant, like genuinely adamant, that Man City still win this Premier League. And all I can put that down to is the fact that people are hoping this is still the same Man City. Look, I still give them credit. They are still so great. Best manager, best striker, Ballon d'Or winners, treble winners, Premier League winners, champion. Like, the list goes on. But they're not the team that they was where they're just expected to go on this run of winning 18 games in a row. The evidence is out there to show that for the past couple of seasons, they haven't been that team. Like, they was miles off it last season. It would appear they're miles off it this season. That's not me getting ahead of myself and saying, oh my God, put our name on the trophy. But it's just to the rival fans who still look at that performance against Bodø Glimt. And the response I got from my friends was, yeah, they wasn't taking it seriously. So I was like, right, they didn't take it serious. Let me just go to this team sheet. And they played a full team. So they've got a difficult game next against Wolves at home, which all of a sudden, if they get beat by Wolves at home, there will be some serious questions to ask of Pep Guardiola. During his whole managerial reign at Man City, it's been up, progress. all of a sudden, if he loses that game, there will start to become question marks around this great man, this Premier League legend, which he is. But if Wolves can do Arsenal a favour, you look at the 2 games after that. Look, I'm not expecting Wolves to get anything from that game. I'm not going to sit here and give false hope to people. I don't think that will happen. But you look at the 2 games after that, you've got Tottenham away and Liverpool away. Notoriously difficult Tottenham away has been for Man City, even when they was on their pomp. Always struggled against Tottenham. I don't know why, because Tottenham are terrible as well. I don't know how they've found themselves in the position they are in the Champions League table. Is it just the fact that the Premier League is so strong? I thought it was fascinating the fact that Arsenal can go away to Inter Milan and seemingly get past them easier than a team like Nottingham Forest. Now, there's an explanation to that. It's these Champions League clubs have pride. They want to come and play against Arsenal, which is something we saw with Inter Milan. And everybody knows that's when we do our best work. When teams want to come to play with Arsenal, they basically sign their death warrant, because that's exactly how Arsenal want other teams to approach the game. Please come on to us. Leave just a little gap for Saka to exploit, for Eze or Odegaard to do their best work in those pockets where your guys are vacated. Please come and attack us. Leave a gap for Martinelli to outpace your right back. But when teams just sit there with this low block, and that seems to be what we're seeing in the Premier League now. I saw a stat earlier which was the same amount of the Premier League this season have already had the same amount of 0-0s that they did for the whole of last season. That just proves to me that teams don't want to play. When they're coming up against certain teams, it's a successful tactic if they can just sit there, be compact, be resolute, don't give anything away, and hope to God we don't concede from a corner. That's why Arsenal have been so effective. People hate that Arsenal rely on these set pieces, and it's because teams are shutting up shop. We have no other way to break it down. Go and ask Man City how hard it is this season to break down some teams in the Premier League. Go and ask Liverpool, Villa, Chelsea, Man United. All of these guys were supposed to be in Arsenal's position, fighting for the title. Why are we the only constant this season? It's because we're effective in those small margins on set pieces, which people get frustrated about. But that's how you break down a team sometimes, when it's the only way. If there's a low block and there's no gaps and you can't find space to play, you have to rely on a set piece. And it's the fact that Arsenal are the best at that in the world. That bugs the life out of people. Look, there were some people who got the correct scoreline in my previous video. I will give you guys a shout out, but I've literally just got to upload this and then go out tonight. My son's got football training, so I won't be able to shout you guys out tonight and edit that in. So I will give you guys your rightful shout out in tomorrow's video, so make sure you're looking out for that. But let me know your thoughts on everything you've heard in this video. What was your thoughts on the game? What was your thoughts on Gabriel Jesus and Viktor Gyökeres and the debate that seems to be snowballing, that is Eze versus Odegaard? It's fascinating to see and have these types of conversations, and they will only amplify as we get closer to that huge clash against Manchester United on the weekend. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Before you go, if you could help me out, just hit like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.